Sam Taylor had always dreamed of owning a peaceful home in the countryside. After 15 years of hard work in the city, he finally saved enough money to buy his dream farm. He bought a small farmhouse on 5 acres of land, far away from the noise and stress of city life. Sam was excited to start a new chapter with his 12-year-old daughter, Emma, who had been in a wheelchair since an accident a few years ago. Emma loved the fresh air, the open space, and the idea of living on a farm where they could grow vegetables and have chickens. Sam had just moved in, unpacking boxes and setting up the house, when the trouble started. One afternoon he found a fancy letter on his doorstep. It was from the Oak Ridge Estates Homeowners Association, HOA. The letter had thick paper and gold writing, telling Sam he was required to join the HOA and pay annual fees. Sam was confused. He had done his research before buying the property and knew it wasn't part of the HOA's area. Thinking it was a mistake, Sam tossed the letter aside. But the next day a woman knocked on his door. She was wearing a bright pink tracksuit and large diamond earrings that sparkled in the sun. "You must be the new neighbor," she said with a fake smile. "I'm Karen Wilkins, president of the Oak Ridge Estates HOA. Sam introduced himself, but before he could say much, Karen quickly got to the point. "I see you haven't joined our HOA, she said, glancing at Emma's wheelchair and the farm equipment in the yard. "You need to submit your membership forms right away or face violations. Your property doesn't fit with the neighborhood standards." Sam felt uneasy, but he stayed calm and explained that his property wasn't part of their HOA, showing her the paperwork. Karen didn't care and simply walked off, leaving him feeling uneasy. Karen's harassment didn't stop after their first meeting. Soon after, Sam started receiving violation notices in his mailbox. The notices claimed that his daughter's wheelchair, which she needed to get around, was inappropriate for the community. The HOA, led by Karen, had a strict set of standards for everything, and Emma's wheelchair didn't fit the image they wanted. The notices also targeted Sam's farm equipment, the vegetable garden, and even the color of his mailbox. Each violation came with threats of fines if not corrected immediately. Sam was shocked. How could his daughter's wheelchair be an issue? It was something she relied on every day and it was necessary for her to live a normal life. But Karen and the HOA didn't care. To them it was just another eyesore in the community. They claimed the wheelchair made the neighborhood look unkempt. Karen even went so far as to call Sam's farm equipment a hazard, and demanded it be removed or face further fines. Sam tried to ignore the notices, thinking that they would stop once Karen saw that he wasn't going to give in. But things only got worse. Karen showed up at his property almost every day, sometimes with other members of the HOA. She would point out little things like weeds in the garden or the position of a fence and declare them violations. She told Sam over and over that he needed to join the HOA to avoid more fines and violations. She even made it clear that if he didn't comply, she would make life miserable for him. As the days went by, the tension grew. Some of Sam's neighbors started to side with Karen, likely out of fear of retaliation. They began to gossip about Sam and his unkept property, and the pressure on him started to mount. Sam wasn't the only one who was feeling the heat. Even the neighbors who had been friendly before seemed to change their attitude. Sam refused to join the HOA, as he knew his property wasn't part of it, and he wasn't going to give in to their bullying. One afternoon, just when things seemed at their worst, Sam received a call from his old college friend, Jamal. He hadn't spoken to Jamal in years, but it was a welcome distraction. Jamal told him that he was working on a major government project related to agricultural research. The president was backing the project and they needed a test site. Jamal explained that Sam's farm would be perfect for the project. This gave Sam hope, a way out of the constant harassment. But little did he know, things were about to get much worse before they could get better. One night, Sam was fast asleep when he was suddenly woken by a strong smell of smoke. His heart skipped a beat as he glanced at the clock. It was 2 a.m. He jumped out of bed in a panic, his mind racing. He quickly ran to the window and what he saw made his heart stop. Through the darkness, he saw his daughter's wheelchair engulfed in flames. The fire was big and angry, reaching up into the sky. Sam could hardly believe what he was seeing. The wheelchair, something his daughter relied on every day, was being destroyed. In a state of panic, Sam rushed outside, still wearing his pajamas. The cold night air hit him hard, but he barely noticed. He ran toward the fire, desperate to save the wheelchair. But as he got closer, he realized it was too late. The flames had already consumed most of it. It was destroyed beyond repair. The wheelchair that his daughter had used for so long, the one that allowed her to live a more independent life, was gone. Sam stood there, shocked and devastated. His emotions ran wild, anger, sadness and helplessness all mixed together. He had never felt so helpless in his life. How could someone do this? His daughter's wheelchair wasn't just a piece of equipment, it was a lifeline for her. Sam knew that this act wasn't an accident. Someone had set the fire on purpose. As he stood in disbelief, Sam looked across the street and saw Karen, the HOA president, standing with a few other HOA members. They were just watching the fire, not lifting a finger to help. Karen wasn't even pretending to care. With a smug look on her face, she casually commented, "It looks like that wheelchair was a fire hazard. Maybe you should have followed the HOA's rules." Sam felt his blood boil. This was her doing. Karen and her HOA friends had gone too far. But Sam knew he couldn't let it go. He needed to act. Determined to get to the bottom of this, Sam decided to install security cameras around his property. A few days later, when he reviewed the footage, his worst fears were confirmed. The video showed two HOA maintenance workers wearing uniforms, walking up to his tractor. They placed violation stickers on it and then one of them pulled out a gas can. The footage showed them intentionally setting the wheelchair on fire, all under Karen's orders. Sam now had the proof he needed to take action. Sam didn't waste any time. The moment he saw the security footage, he knew he had to act fast. He took the video to the police, showing them the clear evidence of arson. The footage made it impossible to deny that Karen and the HOA members were behind the attack on his daughter's wheelchair. The police were shocked, and they immediately launched an investigation. As they looked deeper, they uncovered more about Karen's illegal activities. It turned out that she had been using her position to harass and intimidate other homeowners, forcing them to comply with her rules and even pushing them to sell their land. Sam's case was now part of a much bigger story, and the police were determined to expose the truth. While the investigation began to unfold, Sam received an unexpected call from his old college friend Jamal. Jamal had recently landed a big role in a government project that was being supported by the president himself. The project was focused on agricultural security, and they were looking for a location to test new farming methods. Jamal told Sam that his farm was perfect for the project. Sam was shocked. Not only did this offer a chance to escape the chaos caused by Karen, but it also meant that his farm could play a crucial role in solving national issues. The president's team was briefed on the arson incident, and Sam's farm became a matter of national importance. Soon after, a team of Secret Service agents arrived at Sam's property. They were there to secure the land for the president's visit. The security team quickly set up barriers and checked the area thoroughly. Sam was stunned to learn that Karen's harassment wasn't just a small-town issue. Powerful people were behind her actions. It wasn't just about the HOA, it was about a much larger conspiracy involving land deals, water rights, and corporate interests. The president's team had already begun investigating the connections between Karen and some of the most influential figures in the area. Sam's fight had turned from a local dispute into something far bigger, one that could change the future of agriculture and land rights in the country. With the security footage in hand, Sam worked closely with the police to ensure that Karen and the HOA members would be held accountable for their actions. The evidence was undeniable, and the authorities quickly moved to arrest Karen. When the police arrived at her house, Karen's face turned pale with shock as they read her the charges: arson, conspiracy, and harassment. The sight of Karen being led away in handcuffs was a moment Sam would never forget. For so long he had been bullied and intimidated, but now justice was finally being served. As Karen was taken into custody, Sam stood tall, knowing he had fought for what was right. But the story didn't end there. The national spotlight turned towards Sam and his farm. The president, who had been briefed on the entire situation, made a visit to Sam's property to show his support. The president arrived with his team, and the media quickly gathered to cover the story. Sam's farm, once a quiet corner of the countryside, became the center of a national conversation. The president wanted to inspect the land for the new agricultural project, which was part of a major initiative to secure the country's future food supply. The visit symbolized more than just support for Sam, it was a stand against corporate corruption and the greed that threatened to take away people's homes and land. While the president toured the farm, Karen, still in handcuffs, was being led away by the police. As she was taken to the police car, she couldn't hold back her anger and frustration. She turned to Sam and screamed in disbelief, revealing her true motivations. "You don't understand. This isn't just about your tractor or your farm," she shouted. "The HOA is part of a bigger plan to buy up all the land around here for huge development projects. We were being paid by big corporations to force people to sell, and they wanted your land for the development." Sam felt a mix of relief and anger as he heard Karen's confession. He had known there was something more to her actions, but now he understood the full scope of her greed. It wasn't just about controlling the neighborhood, it was about profit, and Sam's farm was the key to a much larger scheme. Karen's arrest and her confession marked the beginning of the end for the corrupt HOA and the start of a new chapter for Sam and his daughter. Once Karen was arrested and the truth started to unfold, the media went into overdrive. News outlets across the country were buzzing with coverage of Sam's story. The arrest of Karen and the exposure of the HOA's corrupt activities became a national headline. People were shocked to learn about the conspiracy and the powerful corporations that had been secretly backing Karen and the HOA. Sam's farm, once just a small plot of land, became the center of a much bigger story about corporate greed and the fight for land rights. It wasn't just a battle between one man and a ruthless HOA anymore, it was about the future of farming, land ownership, and the power of corporations. As the media coverage continued, more and more details about the conspiracy came to light. It was revealed that the HOA, under Karen's leadership, had been working with large corporations to block agricultural advancements that would disrupt their profit-driven business models. These companies wanted to buy up land like Sam's and develop it for massive projects. Sam's farm, which had originally been targeted for acquisition, was now seen as a symbol of resistance. It represented the fight against corporate control of land and resources. Sam's refusal to give in to the HOA's demands was now seen as a stand for the future of agriculture and the preservation of independent farms. With the president's support, Sam's farm was chosen to become the site of the first vertical farming research project in the country. This new farming method would use significantly less water and land, offering a solution to some of the world's most pressing food security issues. Sam's farm, once under threat, had now become a symbol of hope and innovation for the future of farming. The president's team arrived to help set up the project, and Sam's land was transformed into a hub for agricultural research and development. As for Karen, her reputation was destroyed. After everything came out, she was forced to step down as the president of the HOA. The community, once divided by fear and tension, began to rebuild and come together. Many of the neighbors who had been intimidated by Karen now saw Sam in a new light. They offered their support, helping him with his farm and showing their gratitude for standing up to the corruption. Sam's fight had brought the neighborhood closer, and the entire community began to work together toward a brighter future. Sam stood on his farm, looking out over the land that had become a symbol of resistance. What once felt like a battle for his home had turned into something much bigger. His daughter, now with a new wheelchair, stood beside him, smiling. Together they had faced challenges and fought through the toughest moments, and now they were stronger than ever. The moral of the story was clear: standing your ground in the face of injustice is never easy, but it's always worth it. No matter how powerful the opposition, doing what's right will always lead to a better future. A few days later, Karen's husband, Thomas, came to Sam's house with a peace offering. His wife had sent a lasagna as an apology. Sam was hesitant, but he accepted it. It was a small gesture, but it symbolized how even the hardest conflicts can sometimes end with unexpected resolutions and the possibility of forgiveness.